So, hey, it's me, Blind Knight, and my monitor's over there, but I have to look at the camera. Hey, an interesting video came out last night by Harrison Smith. It's about 14 minutes long. I'll leave a link to it under this video. But I want you to watch a couple of minutes of it with me and just listen closely for 2, 3, or 4 minutes. Here we go.
When history is within reach. So what Israel is fighting here is not merely a seven-front war, but an eight-front war. The Jews against Rome. Rome and Jerusalem clashed over values with a great tragedy for the Jewish people. Well, we lost that. We have to win the next one. But the new Rome, the United States, Jews against Rome. We stopped playing defense and have moved to offense. The weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords that doesn't work well. But we need the kind of genius that manufactured Apollo gold pagers and infiltrated Hezbollah for over a decade to prepare for this battle. Well, we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we engage. And the most important ones are social media. Because the next war will be decided based on how Israel and its allies perform online as much as offline. This is the eighth front, the disinformation campaign.
It is actually this eighth front where enemies believe they can actually defeat the Jewish state.
This is the kind of ingenuity and inventiveness.
So let's go over that one more time. But notice that he didn't say Israel, he said the Jewish state. Now, you've heard anti-Semites tell you for quite a while, if you've been listening closely, that Israel's a state within a state, but beyond all those states within a state is a bigger state that all the little diaspora states feed off of. And that's the Israel state they're talking about. Not just Israel. Zionism is only a couple hundred years old. But this idea that Jews need to defeat Rome to pay back for their defeat in a century after Christ, that's huge. So let's listen one more time.
When history is within reach. So what Israel is fighting here is not merely a seven-front war, but an eight-front war. The Jews against Rome.
Jews against Rome.
Clashed over values with a great tragedy for the Jewish people. Well, we lost that. We have to win the next one.
We have to win the next one. We have to win the next Jew versus Rome. Who is Rome?
The United States. Jews against Rome.
Let's hear that one more time.
Rome and Jerusalem clashed over values with a great tragedy for the Jewish people. Well, we lost that. We have to win the next one. But the new Rome, the United States. Jews against
So even though the United States has never had any Semitism laws to any extent like Europe or maybe other parts of the world have had, the Jews consider the United States to be Rome. Not Europe, the United States. Now, listen a little bit more so you can really take it all in.
Playing defense and have moved to offense. The weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords that doesn't work well. But we need the kind of genius that manufactured Apollo gold pagers and infiltrated Hezbollah for over a decade to prepare for this battle. Well, we have to fight with the weapons that
I don't think I've given you my beautiful face. And here it is right now. Take it all in. This just re-emphasizes Jews only really care about their agenda that they don't really share with Gentiles. And this is an agenda that they've had for 2,000 years. Payback on Rome. Now maybe they thought in 1900 that Rome was more like England. Or maybe they didn't know for sure because the United States was a rising power. Many people have thought that the United States is the new Jerusalem. So maybe that's why they consider the United States Rome. Rome was first a society that didn't believe in Christianity. They were pagans. All over Europe they were pagans. And then either by the sword or through people coming in and preaching the gospel, there was a conversion that took place. Rome threw off paganism and became Christian in 400 AD. The Dark Ages descended down on Rome as the Roman Empire that was religious, the Holy Roman Empire, began to take shape. But it was the Dark Ages, they say. And let's listen to some more.
Apply to the battlefields in which we engage. And the most important ones are on social media.
Because the next war will be decided based on how Israel and its allies perform online as much as offline.
This is the 8th front, the disinformation campaign.
It is actually this 8th front where enemies believe they can actually defeat the Jewish state.
Okay. I think if they were talking about Israel, they would have said Israel. So I think he's referring to the Jewish state that highly aware Jewish people understand, that there's an international Jewish state. That's where communism invented by Jews comes in, because it's right in line with an international Jewish state. Jews take the role of people when the people are referred to in communist manifestos. So, you know, you have to be very careful when you need to define things out. And we're not allowed to tell our stories about how we came to our conclusions about what the Jewish elites are up to. That's just declared anti-Semitism, and if they can make it illegal, that's what they do right away. They make it illegal. We can't talk about it. You can't decipher the Holocaust. Was it a few bad apples killing Jews, or was it a German program to kill Jews? Big difference there. It could kind of make ordinary Jews fall for the propaganda after the war that this was a German program, when it may have just been a program in one or two areas and not in any way associated with Hitler. There have been no statements by Hitler even acknowledging there's a Holocaust. I think that's pretty important, not to be able to find one thing, one message to Adolf Hitler or one message sent by Adolf Hitler that he knew about some sort of program to kill all Jews. I think this is a Jewish myth sold after the war, and they sold it around 1970. But back to the Jewish state. The Jewish state is more than Israel. Israel is just a stepping stone to their bigger international world order and they can call it anything they want, but in their mind, it's the Jewish state. So I think that's all I got to say, buckaroos, and hope you enjoyed the video, and I guess y'all can have a good one if you want.